All right, friends, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is July 30th, 2025. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. As you can see here on your screen, this is their website. There is an affiliate page in the description. If you'd like to turn your IRA into gold and silver, this is the company to do it, and they are our sponsors going forward. We appreciate them. We appreciate you. This is your crisis report for July 30th, 2025. Virginia Councilman Lee Vogler was set on fire after a suspect stormed into his office and doused him with gasoline. Nancy Pelosi denies insider trading accusations, insisting she's not involved and claiming no members of Congress are participating in it. Ontario, Canada has unveiled a new 9-foot bronze statue of a Black woman to help individuals recognize themselves in public spaces and feel valued. Virginia Jeffries' family is pleading with President Trump not to grant Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon, calling her a monster who belongs in prison. 7 dead in Venezuelan military plane crash. Trump says Nancy Pelosi should be investigated over insider trading. Federal Reserve has kept interest rates unchanged for the 5th straight meeting. Trump signed an order implementing additional 40% tax on Brazil, according to the White House. Kamala Harris says she won't run for California governor in 2026. Joe Rogan discusses possible alien probe approaching Earth. It's been in the news with the Coma or whatever the heck it was called. A lot of speculation. It's probably just space debris, folks. Don't freak out. You have plenty going on Earth. U.S. President Trump says a deal has been concluded with Pakistan. Both countries will jointly develop Pakistan's massive oil reserves. More on that later. Trump unveils South Korea trade deal with 15% U.S. tariff. Senator Bernie Sanders says the U.S. must not support a government which is starving children. Tomorrow, he will force votes in the Senate to block the sale of weapons to Netanyahu. Is Israel orchestrating a new regional war? Northern Cyprus is in the crosshairs. It appears a terrifyingly calculated plan may be in motion to exploit the contested status of Northern Cyprus, flashpoint to provoke Turkey into war, thereby plunging the entire region into unprecedented chaos. So the ramifications, if Northern Cyprus is attacked, it's highly improbable the EU would trigger its defense commitments. Even more critically, NATO Article 5, cornerstone of collective defense, would likely remain dormant due to the complex political landscape surrounding Northern Cyprus's recognition. Is it just about another Middle Eastern crisis? A power-driven Israel pushing such a button could unleash a wave of instability that won't stop at regional borders, but could cascade across Europe, shattering the delicate balance of an already volatile continent. Ukraine now allows citizens over 60 to volunteer enlist for military service during martial law. They'll serve in a non-combat or specialized role if medically fit and approved by commanders. Contracts last 1 year and when martial law is lifted. Tensions between Russia and Azerbaijan are continuing. Russian police issued a federal warrant for Shahin Shaklinsky, head of the Azerbaijani diaspora in Yekaterinburg. His son is already in custody for assaulting a police officer. Authorities first detained Shaklinsky, then released him. Now he's wanted again. The world is recognizing Palestine. The momentum is growing. Since October 2023, 9 new countries are officially recognized in the state of Palestine, including Spain, Norway, Ireland, Jamaica, and Armenia. Is France, the UK, and Malta up next? That is the question. Russia says it is concerned about the threat of new strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Polish Prime Minister Tusk says there is a great chance that hostilities in Ukraine will end soon. Trump says India has always bought a vast majority of their military equipment from Russia and are Russia's largest buyer of energy, along with China, at a time when everyone wants Russia to stop the killing in Ukraine. All things not good. 25% tariff imposed. U.S. official to Axios, President Trump wants a clearer picture of the humanitarian crisis in Gaza to find ways to increase aid. Zuckerberg says that they are developing superintelligence, and it's now in sight, building personal superintelligence for everyone via their glasses. Germany plans major defense purchases worth tens of billions of euros, including 20 Eurofighter jets, up to 3,000 Boxer armored vehicles, 3,500 Patriot IFVs, according to Reuters. Israel Knesset speaker says anyone who wants a Palestinian state should establish it in Paris or London. It's already being established in northern Paris, trust me. Israeli Defense Minister Katz says if Hamas does not announce the release of the hostages soon, it will pay a very heavy price. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Russia, you are right when it comes to sanctions. You have been able to avoid them, and you have learned to live with them. Trump is changing the game, and he is going to put tariffs on countries who buy your oil and gas, propping up your war machine. You might want to check with those countries soon to see if they have the same cavalier attitude as you do. Ukraine promised to correct its criticized anti-corruption law. Mercedes-Benz profits have dropped by 56% the first half of 2025, falling to 2.7 billion euros due to high U.S. import tariffs, weak Chinese sales, and restructuring costs. Operating profit in quarter two fell 2/3. Car sales down 9%, especially in China, where they're down 19%. Luxury car makers cutting costs and jobs, aiming to save 5 billion euros annually by 2027. Fed keeps its interest rates unchanged for the fifth consecutive time. Senate Republicans have proposed the Peace Act to let U.S. allies, especially European nations, fund American weapons for Ukraine. Plan aligned with Trump's push to shift Ukraine war costs to allies would set up a treasury fund for this purpose, aiming to raise it by $5 to $8 billion annually. Friends, thanks so much for being here. Please consider becoming a member like Howard Clegg, Roger McKeon, and more. It definitely helps this channel, and we need all the help we can get right now. Spotify now requires age verification in the UK to access music with explicit content or sensitive themes. Users must submit a selfie, otherwise they risk a ban within 90 days. The move follows the new Online Safety Act. That is why this one is entitled what it is. We have more coming on in this Online Safety Act, which is causing a lot of chaos. China rejects Trump's ultimatum and will not stop buying Russian oil and gas. Chinese Foreign Ministry said that China will always ensure its energy supply in ways that serve our national interests. Tariff wars have no winners. Coercion and pressuring will not achieve anything. China will firmly defend its sovereignty, security, and development interests. United States President Trump says a deal has been concluded with Pakistan in which both countries will jointly develop Pakistan's massive oil reserves. This comes after Trump slapped India with 25% tariff and sanctions for trading with Russia. An American deal with Pakistan. Meanwhile, India slapped with tariffs and sanctions. Hardcore geopolitics are playing out. Trump's creating pressure on the BRICS to now pressure Putin to stop their advance in Ukraine and accept their fate. Interesting time to keep an eye on the oil markets in the next few days. China officials reported that at least 30 people have died in Beijing floods. China is the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, but they are also the world's greatest renewable energy powerhouse, aiming to be net zero by 2060. In Bucharest, severe overnight floods in eastern Romania have killed 3 elderly people, damaged thousands of homes. Hundreds of people evacuated, 4 helicopters searching for stranded villagers, officials said on Monday. UK's BBC and the Met Office are going to form partnership to provide weather education to combat conspiracy theories about contrails and other false information online. False information online. German state of Bavaria will introduce a tax on water. Groundwater is our blue gold, says Minister President Söder of the CSU party. Söder added that climate protection is very important to us. The consequence of climate change affect Bavaria, particularly in terms of water and weather. we have decided on the water sent today and are pursuing a long-term water strategy. CIA is preparing for a powerful and superintelligence game changer to counter China's aggressive pursuit of AGI. This is going to be a race between us and the Chinese to see who can build, protect, and govern AI faster, Deputy CI Director Ellis said. This is an interesting timing with the remarks from Mr. Zuckerberg from Meta about what is going on when he came out and said superintelligence is coming. Trump launched a digital health tech ecosystem to bring healthcare into the digital age with trusted partners like OpenAI, Amazon, Anthropic, Apple, Microsoft AI, and Google. Earthquake in Kamchatka may be related to increased activity on the sun. Technogenic causes are unlikely, TASS reported, quoting Elena Kobaleva, director of the Baikal branch of the Unified Geophysical Service of the Russian Academy of Sciences. All of London's airspace was shut down today. Israel is pressuring the U.S. to demand that Qatar expel Hamas leaders from its territory. The aim is to create a credible threat to the lives of Hamas political bureau member Khalil al-Hayya and his associates, as Israel cannot eliminate them in Qatar due to the close ties between Washington and Doha. Scott Bessent, U.S. Secretary of Treasury, says that Alexander de Moraes is responsible for censorship and politicized prosecutions, including against former President Jair Bolsonaro. Today, Treasury Department is sanctioning Brazilian Supreme Federal Court Justice Alexander de Moraes, who has used his position to authorize arbitrary pretrial detentions and suppress freedom of expression. Alexander de Moraes is responsible for an oppressive campaign of censorship, arbitrary detentions that violate human rights, and politicized prosecutions, including against former President Jair Bolsonaro. Treasury will continue to hold accountable those who threaten U.S. interests and those who impose limits on our freedom. U.S. Federal Reserve announced it will leave its benchmark interest rate steady at 4.25% to 4.5%, making this the fifth straight meeting with no adjustment. Officials said they are closely monitoring inflation and economic data before deciding on any future rate moves, emphasizing the need for stability in the current economic climate. I have heard from some people that even if they do lower them, it could make mortgage rates go up. Excuse me. According to Brazilian senators currently in the U.S. meeting with the Republican and Democratic representatives, the United States is considering the possibility of banning visas for Brazilian citizens during the 2026 World Cup period if Brazil does not resolve the ongoing political persecution in the country. Over the past hours, Russian armed forces started a strike against Ukrainian capital of Kiev. UAVs and missiles are seen raining down against the city as the attack continues. After the UK passed the Online Safety Act, imposing draconian censorship on social media apps and forcing users to disclose personal information to verify their age, Australia takes a step further. Australia will ban Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat for 16-year-olds and under. Under the new rules, YouTube will still be accessible to Australian teens, but they won't be able to have a Google account and interact with the app beyond watching videos. BBC writes that there is a potential for Australian laws to be copied by other countries. Australia's laws are being watched with great interest by global leaders, with Norway announcing a similar ban and the UK saying it is considering following suit. Google has threatened before to sue the Australian government if it restricts YouTube. What they're doing in a lot of cases is they're taking video games that now have very realistic graphics, and they're using that to be the facial recognition and to get in. It's working so far to bypass for some, but this whole thing is a mess. The Google, you will see Google sue. You will see more problems from this. I mean, this was just supposed to be protection for the youngins, and it's become an incredible mess. CNBC, the Vietnam deal, the president announced earlier in July. I don't think we've seen confirmation from the Vietnamese government on that deal. We have agreement with them on paper. Besant says, I assume we do. CNBC asked, you haven't seen that paperwork? Besant said, Ambassador Greer keeps all of that. Trump administration has approved Netanyahu's proposal to annex large swaths of the Gaza Strip, according to Haaretz. Plan involves a phased annexation starting with a buffer zone along the border and extending all the way to northern Gaza. Decision is contingent upon Hamas not committing to a ceasefire. New Gallup poll has revealed that American support for Israel has hit another low, following the revelation in March that for the first time a majority of Americans held negative views of Israel. Only 32% of the overall surveyed approved of Israel's actions in Gaza, with the majority being Republican Party voters. Among Democrats, approval was only 8%. Despite decades of anti-Iranian propaganda, just 38% of Americans approve of Israel's military action against Iran, against the vast majority being from the Republican Party. Additionally, for the first time, the majority of Americans have an unfavorable view of Israeli Prime Minister and international fugitive Benjamin Netanyahu. Among age groups, 9% of Americans 18 to 34 approve of Israel's attack and what they're doing in Gaza. Even among people aged 55 and older, support has fallen below 50%, which is unprecedented. Similar surveys and polls with multiple polling institutions have recently revealed that Israel is by far the most disliked country in the world. Support hitting new all-time lows in Europe and the United States with every survey. Poll was conducted from July 7th to the 21st, before the famine in Gaza reached its peak. 5 days after the introduction of the Online Safety Act in the United Kingdom, under the guise of protecting children from smut, newspaper The Guardian released a documentary about a British smut star. Anna Nicole Kidman's daughter is suing her mom, and she read the complaint online. Nobody cares. Friends, this message is brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Check out their link in my description if you want to change your IRA to gold and silver. And then from there, folks, we would love to see you back here on the Crisis Report. We'll have a brief sometime in the early afternoon tomorrow. God bless you all. Please hit that like button. Do the subscribe thing. Darken out the bell. I need all the help you can get. Thank you so much to the people that are the members here. It is $2 a month. It totally helps. Also, we're very excited to have just passed 500 subscribers on Substack. You can pay for it over there, or you can get it for free. As I always say, my information, I am the product. If you like what I'm doing, it'll be worth it to you, and you'll give me a little something for the effort. If you can't do that, no problem. I'm still here. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.